The Blitz, high school football from the field to your screen. Sponsored by Mocse Credit Union and KW Recovery Lab.
Welcome to The Blitz. I'm Frankie Tovar.
And I'm Eddie Ruiz.
And it's the second episode of the season, and that means we're covering Turlock High versus Reno High. That's right. Whoa. The Bulldogs hosted Reno all the way from Nevada, and they beat them 48-21.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
It was impressive, and it's not just the Reno team, okay, because they were ranked 5th to finish off the season last year in the state of Nevada. They were one game away from the state final, which would have been against Bishop Gorman, a team that everybody's familiar with if you know prep football or football at any level. But obviously they won, 48-21, and it's a big victory and a big confidence booster, I think, too, for Turlock.
Absolutely, and that mostly like 48-7, really, because two of those touchdowns that Reno scored were late in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
Some people call them garbage time touchdowns. I call them confidence-building touchdowns. But, on paper, if people looked at this matchup heading into the game, they would think Reno will come out and do really, really well. Well, no, things were a lot different on the field. Turlock dominated on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, which they needed to do, especially after last week's debacle when they lost to Freedom.
Yeah, it was a debacle because it was a sloppy game. They turned the ball over so many times.
I think 8 times, Peterson said.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was 42-35. So to be,
close.
in a game against one of the top teams in the state like that and turn the ball over 8 times, listen, it's all uphill from here. We know how talented Turlock is individually, and I think this is just going to help them out, obviously, especially going into that next week matchup, which we'll talk about against Tracy. A lot of history.
That'll be a good one. It's also important to note, though, that Turlock has a habit of loading their preseason schedule with some very tough and competitive teams, and I think it serves them well in league, and we'll see if that proves true this season as well. But let's stop talking right now. Let's get into the highlights. The Friday night highlights, there's a lot to cover. Turlock hit the ground running on its first play of its first possession, or I guess I should say passing. Here's a 26-yard strike from Joe Kozakevich to Holden Baldwin, and this is only a 3-play possession capped by a 26-yard Anthony Freitas touchdown. Good luck stopping this kid in open space. Boom! Stiff arm. I told you, 24. He crosses the goal line, and the Bulldogs are up 7-0 early in the first.
Dude, how early in the first? 8:25 left in the first. That's how early, man. It's crazy. Check this out. They forced Reno to punt it. Jonah Kozakevich, so right away connected with Holden Baldwin. It's a 16-yard pickup. Pretty sweet. 2 plays later, they're trying to go down in the middle. Oh no, Kozakevich on the outside, 7-yard touchdown run, 14-0 with 4:55 left in the first.
And now Reno, starting from the 20-yard line, they introduce a new strategy, the QB power. That's number 32 with a 14-yard pickup. And after running that play 6 times in a row, Reno's back in the air with a 21-yard completion from Furmoil to Barbary. Then it's back to the QB power. This time it's Drew Worthen getting 10 yards on the far side of the field. He's going to get taken down, and that's going to set up a 6-yard touchdown pass from Furmoil to Barbary, who takes a hit but makes the catch. It's 14-7 with 9:05 left in the half.
Oh my, check this out. Turlock, okay, they're doing well, right? And I feel like just Kozakevich is doing all work. No, Baldwin, incomplete. And he's upset. It's chill, dude. You're going to redeem yourself. We know that. Check this play out. Kozakevich looking for his man, Lucas Curtis, but no! Picked off, unfortunately. They turn it over, but it's all good. They're going to force Reno to punt it again because their defense is solid. We know that. And here's Kozakevich connecting with, he redeems himself. I think he does. Holden Baldwin, 61-yard touchdound, and that makes it 21-7, man. They're doing work right now.
Rewind it.
We're doing it.
Why though?
Because it's a play of the game. Woo! That was so sick. Check that out. He beats the defender.
It's too nice.
That's sweet. And by the way, this kid's getting looked at by a bunch of colleges. Why not? He's got skills.
Pick him up. Turlock's D forces a 3-and-out against Reno's offense, and Turlock's offense is back at it. Another bomb. It's deja vu. Kozakevich to Baldwin. That is just too nice. That's a 38-yard pickup. And just 2 plays later, it's Lucas Curtis, number 11, with a 15-yard touchdown run, and he makes it look easy. It's now 28-7, and that's how the teams enter halftime.
Turlock's already leading big time. We're in the third quarter. This is only his second play of the third quarter. Kozakevich. I feel like we're just going to say his name the entire time, right?
Kozakevich.
11-yard pickup. Pretty sweet. And check out this pass play right here to Lucas Curtis. It's a 27-yard pickup. He could throw from his left running, or he could throw on the run from his right. He's good. Lucas Curtis, though, he's fast as well. I like that kid. And check this out. This is going to be it right here. It's going to be a touchdown pass. Kozakevich. Baldwin, that was so sick. As you saw, he kept his feet inbound, but the ref, he forgot his glasses or his contacts, whatever.
No,
but it's all good,
buddy.
We got footage for you, man. Check it out. Oh, his feet are in. Oh, both
Feet
of
are
them,
in.
too. It's not
It's
called
clear.
He even has both of them, so it's clear. But check this out. It's all good. We're giving the fantasy points to Lucas Curtis. 7-yard touchdown. 34-7 with 7:18 left in the third.
And everybody's chipping in on offense, including Kyle Rumayor with this 11-yard gain. Then it's back in the air as Freyas reels in a hitch pass and takes the ball 11 yards downfield. And that takes us into the fourth quarter where we're about to see another home run play. Kozakevich drops back, lets loose, finds Cam Sherwood, who sprints 61 yards downfield for the touchdown, and they got a stiff arm in to boot. It's now 41-7. Turlock's rolling.
You're right, dude. They are rolling. But Reno, they're not done, man. They're trying to get some points up, trying to get some confidence going. Kyle from Oil, Chris Chemore, 11-yard pickup. And here he is again from Oil. He's going to do it by himself, though. You know, he's going to look like a little bit like a running back himself, getting some fantasy points. Well, if there was some for high school football. But a personal foul, unfortunately, that gets him at the 10-yard line. And check this out. It's a pass to Chris Chemore. It's a 10-yard pickup. And it's 41-14 with 9:36 left in the game.
And the reserves are now in for Turlock, but that hasn't changed much at all. Here's Dalton Lynn with a sweet 24-yard gain, changing direction and putting his Bulldog offense into the red zone. That's followed by a 5-yard run from the backup QB, Brock Pasley, who keeps his legs pumping in the scrum like a vet. He's eventually taken down, and that sets up a 1-yard plunge from Freyas for Turlock's final touchdown, making it 48-14 with 3:31 left in the game.
We think the game is over, but no, Reno, they have their backups in, and they're trying to get some confidence going. It's going to be a 6-play drive, Anthony Hill right there with the 11-yard pickup. And then check this out, though. Not bad. Tevin Thomas, 23-yard pickup as well. He's getting some fantasy points, man. And they're going to close it out right here with the 14-yard touchdown. And that's going to be it, though. This is going to be the final touchdown of this game. It makes it 48-21, by the way, with 1:13 left in the game. But that's it. That's your final. Turlock picks up the first win of the season. Man, so that was wild, but you take a look at the total yards. Reno only had 232 yards. That means Turlock's D did their job, and I'll tell you what, Reno, they really couldn't do much except for that fourth quarter. That's essentially where most of those yards came.
And Turlock's offense did his job too, 492 total yards. And if you want to see the disparity in yards gained and the output as far as offense goes, Turlock's first half yardage more than Reno's total yardage. Turlock's second half yardage more than Reno's total yardage. So Turlock really came out to play. They bounced back, and I'm sure they made their coach, James Peterson, proud. So thank you to the Turlock Bulldogs for providing a great game for us to watch. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, Mocse Credit Union and KW Recovery Lab in Turlock. Hey, Eddie, if I need a loan, where should I go?
Well, there's only one place to check out if you're in Turlock, and that's Mocse Credit Union. Do you need an auto loan, a toy loan, a home loan? Look no further. Mocse Credit Union has you covered, as they've had us covered in the past for all years, basically. So check them out on Gear Road. Let them know that the Blitz, Frankie, and Eddie sent you.
And our newest sponsor and the newest business here in Turlock is KW Recovery Lab. It's the one-stop shop for health and recovery. You can go get ice baths, cryotherapy recovery, Normatec recovery technology, massages. There's so much more to do. They're open from 8 to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5:30 on Friday, and 9 to 1 p.m. on Saturday. They want you and your teammates to come out and recover in style. Recover as hard as you train. KW Recovery Lab here in Turlock. And by watching the highlights, there's no secret as to who the impact player of the game is. It's Jonah Kozakevich, the senior quarterback. He had a great performance. We're talking 316 total yards, 270 of which came through the air, and 3 total touchdowns. That's 2 through the air and 1 on the ground. So we spoke with the impact player of the game, Jonah Kozakevich. Let's see what he had to say right now.
From last week, it was a little bit of a nail bite at the end. Sucked to have a loss, but coming in this week, worked our butts off in practice. Knowing Reno's number 6 in Nevada, they're a well-respected team there in their state. So them traveling to us, it was going to be a big game. They were bringing it to us at our home, first home opener. So it was all the marbles. Everything we had tonight, and luckily we came out with a W. So last week, our offense moved the ball exceptionally well. So this week we tried to do the same thing. We knew that what the coverages were running 3 and 4, so just attack that as best we can, and just play powerhouse Turlock football. That's all we can do. First of all, I give all my credit to the linemen. They held the pocket all night, had no sacks tonight, so they're getting breakfast on Sunday. But the boys, Lucas, Anthony, Cameron, Holden, Miguel, they're all playmakers. And it's hard for teams to defend everybody like we got because they all can catch, they all can run. They're all just threats on the field. We got Tracy next week here at home. We've lost twice, or I've lost to them last year twice. So it'll be a big game for us home again. and we're going to carry this momentum into next week and, work hard every day at practice and do what we can do, play again, Turlock football again. Thank you, KW Recovery Lab. Appreciate it.
Again, that was the KW Recovery Lab Impact Player of the Game, and I'm sure he'll be in there recovering with that free certificate after that game. It was a hard hitter.
Yeah, of course he was. But he couldn't have done all that work without his boys, his teammates, his buddies. Holden Baldwin, you take a look at that receiver, because he's huge, by the way. He's very tall. Taller than us, that's for sure. He had 141 yards receiving and a touchdown. That looks pretty. And then Lucas Curtis, a speedster right there, 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. That looks nice, man. And you're getting a lot of fantasy points, by the way.
I gotta say, Baldwin really impressed me. This was the first time I got to really see him in action. Not just really in the catches, but making astronomical catches over defenders, fingertip catches. He had a drop or two in the game that I know he wants back, but he really redeemed himself, and I'm sure he's gonna continue to rack up the yards and rack up the touchdowns as the season progresses. And I know Jonah's probably really happy to have him on board.
Yeah, man. I'd be happy to have him on board, I'm just saying. And then we're taking a look at next week's game, though, because there's so many games coming up next week. And then let's take a look at Pitt. We have to give them a quick shout out because they beat Lincoln of Stockton this week.
Oh, there
as well.
You go.
So I'm just saying, all right.
Yeah, we got to keep up with the other CCAL teams, right?
Absolutely.
So now Pittman's 2-0, Turlock's 1-1. But Turlock, they look like they're going to be doing really well as they move forward to face Tracy in the Battle of the Bone. And I think consistent play is going to be important for Turlock. You look at the Reno game, Turlock scored on every single possession except for one when they gave up that turnover. So that's consistency at the highest level. And if they can do that against Tracy, their Bulldog counterpart, I think they'll come out on top, even though, history hasn't been so kind to Turlock in this Tracy-Turlock matchup.
No. So if you want yourself, you could take a look at Max Preps and check out the schedule from the last couple of years. But the fact is, they lost to Tracy twice last year, okay? They essentially had sort of the same team. And then you take a look at Tracy this year so far after 2 games. They've scored over 130 points in just 2 games.
Oh, wow,
I'll just say, Turlock, hey,
that's a lot.
If you think you're just gonna maybe put up a fight or something, nah, man. Tracy's gonna come out and battle, and they can score a lot of points. So look out for them. Oh, and by the way, though, before we get on, with the show, Hillmar, they're 2-0 as well. Because they beat Los Banos, all right?
Yeah,
and we covered them as well.
Hillmar's looking good, Pittman's looking good, Turlock's looking good. And next week we'll find out how TC looks when they take on Waterford. They came up short on Friday, and short might be an understatement. It was 0-39. Of course, 0 was what TC had. But the previous week was a lot closer.
Oh, for sure.
They lost a 4 still, but it was only 24-36. So that's very close. TC looking for their first win against Waterford, who was 1-0 because last week they had a bye, and the week prior they picked up their win on the season opener.
Yeah, and let me just say this right now, that Waterford, I think they're going to be one of the front runners for the Southern Athletic League. That's just my prediction right now. So Turlock Christian, you're facing a very tough team. I'm just letting you know it's not going to be easy by any means. Waterford's going to come up there. They're going to score points, and they can't score points. It's going to be very dangerous. But hopefully, TC gets to grow from this, right, and progress. That's essentially what Coach Goodwin kind of wants.
I think TC is up to the challenge, especially when you consider that last season was their best season in maybe a decade.
Yeah.
And so they're building on that. I don't think they have a lot of returners from that season, but they do have players who saw last season who want to replicate that, and I'm sure they have a lot of motivation to do so. So you can check that game out next week at turlockjournal.com. We're talking TC versus Waterford. We'll have updates on our social media accounts. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find that at Turlock Journal. And then, I'm sure we'll have a fun time in the meantime doing all the research and getting ready for that game. So while you wait and while we prepare, just remember, the Blitz is right here at turlockjournal.com. So until next week, I'm Frankie Tovar.
I'm Eddie Ruiz.
Good night.